Forever. Dog.
This may come as a surprise, but my family is ready to get out of the house. So I did a search on the Vrbo app. They've got vacation homes anywhere your family wants to go. We found the perfect beach house that was just a drive away. It has an outdoor kitchen, a pool, and a game room for the kids, so we can really unwind and relax. Check out the Vrbo app for whatever kind of vacation your family needs. That's Vrbo, VRBO.com. Your together awaits.
Forever. Dog.
Warning, the following podcast takes place under the sea, but you won't find any singing crabs or crustacean bands here, just soulless ocean life and the unforgiving, weather-controlling bodies of water that exist on the brutal planet Earth. Yeah, it's the Living Seas on podcast The Ride.
Welcome to Podcast The Ride, the theme park podcast hosted by three sea base alpha males. I'm Scott Gairdner, joined by Mike Carlson.
Yeah, that is maybe like the most aggressive we could possibly sound. If there was like, we're tough guys, but we love Epcot. Like that makes a lot of sense to me. So I really like that. Thank you.
It'd be a fair name for one of those gangs or social gathering groups. I forget what euphemism they were using, but if that had to be ours, if it isn't one already, might be one already, and we're really messing with their territory. Jason Sheridan, the third male.
Seabase Alpha sounds like a marketing department was trying to clean up the image for the term wet blanket or wet noodle. So I guess that's right. I guess that's
trying to make wet blankets desirable and cool.
Yeah, make it like, something people desire, something people want.
Well, yeah, but Jason, you're upset because you don't like that wet blanket is used as a bad thing because you love a wet blanket. You love to sleep soaking wet. You love to be wet from head to toe constantly.
Sure, yes. Did I bail on an Airbnb once because all of the bedding was still soaking wet? Yes, I did.
We have heard that, and that was shocking to me.
Heard that story.
That was shocking to me.
I know.
Some wetness is fun wetness that you're fond of, but not all.
All right. Clothing wetness, not blanket and bedding wetness.
Yeah, let's that seems to be the boundary. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I apologize.
Are we fond of today's wetness, brought to you by the Living Seas, an Epcot attraction that is our topic today, and we're doing it today because this day that you're listening to it, if you're listening to it on the release, it is January 15th, and on January 15th, 1986, this ride opened. That was 35 years ago on this very day, which is a stat that makes me feel very old.
Oh my God, yeah, we're like, whew, there's like a couple years left for us, I think. Like, it doesn't... When I think about, sorry to take it in an extra dark place. It's crazy. Time existing and seeing, all these videos and going, oh, okay, that was 30 years ago. How old am I? Oh, shit.
There's something, I know. It doesn't square with your own age a lot. I think it's just weird because we were very little when Disneyland had its 35th anniversary, which is an indelible thing for me at least. And just seeing 35 a lot. I like couldn't imagine a bigger number.
Yeah,
I didn't think I'd make it to 35, much less beyond.
Sure. I was looking at archival footage and I was looking at the dates on YouTube and on the on different websites, and I was eating an Airhead, and it didn't square with me because I'm like, I'm eating like a child, and I still think of myself like a child, but yet this tells me I'm not a child. I am far from it.
I love this. I love the Living Seas. I feel like it always caught me off guard. It's so off in the corner of Epcot, and it was such a unique experience of like a standing pre-show, a theater pre-show, the Hydrollator. I love the Hydrollator. I loved and feared the Hydrollator. And the sea cabs, and so it was like a sequence of experiences as opposed to, I think the Martin's vids on this is really good. He points out that the other pavilions had like one key attraction each. This is like a sequence that you experience, and it's very unique, and that also helped them control crowd flow because it does eat a lot of people per hour.
Yeah, it's. Well, here's what I'll say. We talked a little bit. We did a Horizons episode a couple months ago at this point, right? That was a couple months. That wasn't 35 years ago.
I don't know.
It's possible.
It's been a long last few weeks, so it's hard to say.
So we did that, and we were sort of talking, and I think Scott and I more agreed that as kid brains, a lot of these Epcot rides sort of blended together. Like, you could have shown me maybe a video now, or whenever the first time I started watching like old retro videos, you could have put in a scene from Living Seas. You could have put a scene in from World of Motion, and my brain would have gone, oh, that makes sense. That looks right. And then we sort of were also talking about how it felt like Epcot was a concept album. You know, it was a challenging second album, and they were sort of, everything actually felt like it fit together. You could maybe take out pieces of rides and put them somewhere else, and they would kind of thematically feel similar. So I will say, as a kid, the Living Seas didn't make a huge impression on me. I don't have such fond memories of the Hydrollator. I love the Hydrollator now in my adult years, seeing it. Don't get me wrong. Don't come for me with pitchforks yet. But I will say I didn't have such a nostalgia for it as much as I did for like Figment himself, and then the nostalgia of Epcot, which of course I love.
I think part of my nostalgia is I bought it. I bought that we had to go. I was like, well, we're not going to the bottom of the sea, but clearly we have to go down to get to the transit, to get to the aquarium section of this.
Are you accusing me of not buying it as a child?
Well, I don't know. Do you think you did? I especially loved that you had to play along. You had to
buy it.
You had to take a Hydrollator to exit, like not the ones with the full windows, but like they had you couldn't just, now you just, when we were at the current iteration, you just walk in and out of the gift shop. You don't have to take the ride.
No, this has nothing to do with me buying it or not. As a kid, I was scared of all this. I thought this was all real. I'm just saying, as a kid, I just don't have such strong memories of it like other pieces. I think you also went a little more often than we did.
That's true. Yeah, we went every
perhaps
2 to 3 years, and then every year for a very, very brief period of time.
Sure. So I'm just trying to give a picture of exactly where my enjoyment lies.
Yeah.
There's I feel like I was sort of neither here nor there. I like, it wouldn't have been my favorite Epcot thing, probably wouldn't have been my least favorite Epcot thing. There's a strong opinion about this attraction in my household, and I'm not sure if I should get into that now or if we get to that part of the thing. Because if there is anything more introductory to do, actually one thing we forgot. We're just calling it the Living Seas today, and for a long time this attraction has been the Seas with Nemo and Friends. But that's one of those. Are we going to call this episode The Seas with Nemo and Friends? I don't think. You got to go back to the original title.
Yeah, and look, to be honest, I didn't know they had changed the name. I thought that's what they were just calling the ride. I didn't know the whole pavilion is now called that. I just missed that at some point because so much of it is still kind of standing, especially... I mean, my family, too, we were a big Coral Reef restaurant family, and I have not been there in years. I want to go now that I've seen the official, like, on the Disney website. It's like a perfect fossil, like a fly preserved in amber. It has not aged, apparently.
Yeah.
It's very early 90s, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think this kind of busy mosaic design style, I think it's coming back. I think this, like, minimalist, dark metal, dark wood, Johnny Rockets shit is on its way out.
I hope not. I hope it lasts forever. Lindsay and I went like 7 years ago to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And there was a giant rock in the tank, and all of a sudden we realized it was a turtle and it moved, and we were delighted.
And that's the magic of the Living Seas.
That's right. And then we looked down and we just ate a dead fish off of a plate.
Okay, that's the conundrum of the living seas. That's the paradox of the living seas.
Of course.
Yes,
should we say some basics about it before
Yes.
we?
Sure.
And this is partially on my mind because the last time we did an Epcot attraction was Horizons. Friend of the show, Nick Mundy, listened to the episode, hadn't heard an episode in a while, and then gave me the feedback. It's like you were speaking a foreign language. It's like you were speaking Spanish. I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. So now I've got Mundy just like with a fist in his hand behind me in my head, telling me to explain what the rides are. I think we did fairly well. I don't know. What do you like? Hey, is Mundy in line there? What do you think?
I think he texted and criticized the episode to me as well. He'd have to look if he's like running around town like doing errands. Like sometimes he will give me a phone call while he's doing that, and then he was also listening, and like he's at like a grocery store and they're like saying, "Mr. Mundy, here's your order," and he's trying. Like you're not gonna pick up on what Horizons is. It's too weird. It's too ethereal. It's too like if he was sitting down listening intently, then I would be a little more concerned. I'm guessing
if we sat him down and said, "Okay, we'll explain it to you." It's a ride that offers different visions of what the future might be, hopeful visions brought to you by like how quickly would he just like turn to his phone or leave the room or punch us in the jaw?
Yeah, he would there would be an urge to just put our head in a toilet or pull our underwear up hard from our back of our pants. Like he wouldn't be able to resist that or throw a dodgeball at our head. A dodgeball would sort of like materialize in his hand and he would whip it at our head.
He's still trying to solve the problem of fire bad. So we got to tell. It's like, no, it's not always bad. There's different. It's very useful in some occasions.
Mundy is a Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Mythology.
It's a caveman, I think is what Jason is calling him. Jason, as usual, has taken Scott and I's good-natured ribbing up to an 11.
All the way up the hydrolator.
Jason wants to, look, in wrestling, you got to keep building up the feud, you know? And Jason wants to build that feud up for when Mundy comes back on the show, and I appreciate that. He's working an angle. That's what he's doing.
Oh, I can only hope. I can only hope he puts me through a table. He puts me through an announcer's table. I will double mask if we figured out a way for Mundy to put me through a table in these trying times.
There was talk at the Orlando live show of Matt Cardona putting you through something, but it didn't materialize. So hopefully that happens at a certain point on one of these shows.
I thought it was supposed to be I hit him with a chair.
We talked about that, but I
talked about scenarios. Yeah,
there were a couple scenarios, and yeah, for sure, one of them was you taking a bump of some kind.
Yeah. Okay, but
Mundy will be the one. The non-trained wrestler will be the one to hurt you.
That's fine. But no, back to he makes a very fair point. Yes, we should full on explain. We should make
Just
sure we're still doing that. It's good to refresh the basics. It's good to get back to basics. You know,
he's the way he told us to do the podcast, and now he has a new note for us, and I want to make good. The Godfather of the podcast notes. One helpful thing.
Godfather of the year.
One helpful thing I think about this attraction is that at the time that it was built, it was based around what was then the largest saltwater tank on Earth, which is full of aquatic animals. So it is a lot of attractions based around that. So the restaurant, you guys are talking about the Coral Reef restaurant, that is a restaurant where you had a view of the creatures in the tank as you ate fish, bizarrely. But the primary illusion that it's trying to create is not just like an aquarium, here you're going to go look at the tank. It's that you are actually going to a sea base, a futuristic sea base, which you're led to believe is underwater. And so there's various forms of transport that take you all the way, not just like a couple feet away, but in theory, like far, far down and many leagues under the sea, if you will, to this fully immersed underwater sea base. It isn't fully immersed. That was kind of the intent initially, but now it's just, built around this giant tank and with lots of amazing views of it.
Yes. So It is basically there's an Omnimover like Haunted Mansion ride system, and there's a big aquarium with a restaurant. That's the simple version. It's mostly a big aquarium. There's people that work in there tending to the fish. There's little shows. There's information. There's stuff has changed over the years, but that's sort of the basic. They have fish and aquatic life that have like been harmed that they're rehabilitating.
Yeah,
which we
Dolphins,
saw last time we were there.
Big variety. Manatees. You got rays. You got all kinds of cool stuff. Which was my takeaway. Being there last year was, well, you just forget how great this is. Like just the base. Just like, oh yeah, within this day at Epcot, that's always cool. Where you experience a lot of things. Like, oh, like here's the stint of the day where you see just a lot of cool animals. It's very neat.
Yeah. And it's obviously years before Animal Kingdom, but it is like similar it's the same idea where they were like, oh shit, we have to get a ton of people who know what they're doing to maintain a giant aquarium with a variety of fish and marine life.
If you watch there's a National Geographic series about Animal Kingdom on Disney Plus, and they do have to go to the living seas a lot to like one of the manatees they're worried he's ill or he ate something he shouldn't have. So sometimes they needed to transport sea life from the living seas to Animal Kingdom because that's where they have like extra animal care stuff. Although there are plenty of marine biologists and such working at the living seas, it's a real like licensed and certified rescue center and aquarium.
Yeah. So that is what it is basically still now. That's what it was.
Plottier aquarium, really. Ultimately, most aquariums don't have stories. And this one,
true.
This one does more so.
Could we start with like what it might have been?
Yeah, that was interesting to me to discover the version that didn't get built.
I knew none of this.
I did not know it either. It's pretty well documented in the Martin's vids. They have more concept art and like model pictures than I have seen. And it sounds like this version would have been insane and amazing. I like what they did fine, and I shouldn't even say that. I like what they did. But this version, oh boy, do I wish this was built.
They pull off the educational aspect of it. It's definitely interesting to go there, but with all the bells and whistles, I think it would have been a lot more satisfying as a theme park attraction.
Yes, and as soon as I heard that Poseidon was involved in the original version, I was like, oh shit, what? Why does Poseidon get cut? Even like a low-grade Poseidon in the current version, I would have been like still pretty happy with. But
big tease, I know I started unraveling why does Poseidon get cut, and the answer is pretty nefarious. It goes and goes, and you'll see. But let's talk about the fun first.
Yeah. So I guess the original was very much more like simulating that underwater base, like a cool dome underwater, like whatever. I guess base is really what it is. But it opened with a pre-show where you were like challenged by Poseidon the Sea Lord, who were like just like dare you to just like taunt the ocean.
Yeah, like you're in the middle of a raging sea storm, and he stops it with a wave of his hand and like eggs you on. He's like, only the bravest explorers would explore the sea.
Yeah. Which it's funny because like you were still going to Sea Base Alpha, which was very much like like more science fiction, like this emphasis on the science than it is like on the science fantasy or something. But
if you go on this today, it's extremely clinical by theme park standards. So it's almost, and like set probably in the not too distant future. It's all technology we have, but if it was super polished, you're going into Sequest. You're going into Sequest DSV, basically.
Yes.
Which I think is set in the 2030s or something. I don't know if maybe I'm pulling that out of my butt. So, yeah, strange that we would, like, this definition of the seas involves that the seas are controlled by a giant man.
By a giant magic man. Which, yeah, it does. It's sort of like the original idea of Epcot was very much like, I mean, they have like, imagination, which obviously is not necessarily rooted in science, but a lot of it, was science-based. So I am curious, and maybe Scott, you have more information, like what their thinking was behind this. But man, it would have been awesome. I will say that.
Yeah.
And the technology was going to be that you sat in this theater, he challenges you, and then the theater would rotate 180 degrees to a very ornate loading station, where you would then board an Omnimover.
Yeah, like a
fantastical.
Like a yellow brick road of coral, like just coral everywhere. We have not talked about fake coral a lot on this show.
And how is that different than fake rock? And does it count as fake rock? I mean, someone listening is going to know the distinction better than us. But coral didn't, if it counts as fake rock, it didn't really fare great in the fake rock Final Four. Though I think the Disney Sea Ariel's Grotto area is really fantastic. And, probably... didn't make it in there, but it could have been a squeaker.
But I think somebody will be able to tell us, like, oh, you're missing all these great pieces of fake coral in theme parks, and maybe eventually one day when we have all this gathered, we can do a fake coral Final Four. Perhaps.
I'd love to gather enough. Yes. Let's give coral its due.
Yeah, fake coral.
Good fake coral in the Fry's Electronics in, I forget the city now. It's in San Diego County. But they're really good fake coral game there.
And then obviously fake coral on the Nemo subs in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
you know, I think fake coral is in more places if you look.
If your heart is open to it.
If your heart is open to it.
I just want to shout out before we move on from Poseidon his line about if we can part the waves of understanding. I mean, this is this highfalutin Poseidon language, and that he is called Poseidon the Sea Lord. I mean, obviously Poseidon was done to its full theme park extent in Islands of Adventure with Poseidon's Fury, ultimately. I was also trying to remember if Poseidon factors into the Caesar's Palace mall statue show, which is called Fall of Atlantis, and Poseidon is referenced, like it's all kind of his shadow looms over the events of Fall of Atlantis, but
Poseidon
is not
here.
Statues.
He called in sick today.
Let us do his bidding. What would Poseidon have done?
Yeah.
WWPD. So Poseidon, I mean, I just want more Poseidon in general, if possible. It's a property anybody can grab because it's mythology. I don't think anyone can own Poseidon.
Right.
No one can own me.
So, yes, we can have Poseidon on the show regularly too. Like Poseidon and the Sector Keeper show up together, maybe. It's my friend Poseidon. Yes, I am friends with this young ghost boy. I don't know why he's like Hercules or something, but in my version.
If one of the three of us had more energy, maybe Poseidon could be with us here today.
Yeah, I'm very tired though, you know? I wasn't prepared.
All too tired to summon Poseidon, I think.
I mean, if you force me,
why, boys? Never mind, hang on. I'm going to go rest.
I love
I'm going to take a bath.
Mike's new character, Reluctant Poseidon.
Yes, here I am. I'm here, and good to meet you, Jason.
Poseidon, who's still stressed out about the impeachment hearings, I think. Why, with a wave of my hand, I could part the sea, but only 10 Republicans flee. After that, after the attack on still only 10, I just kill. I don't. The trident feels extra heavy to me today.
Oh, why don't they just do the inauguration in the Oval Office? Oh, come on. Why does it have to be outside?
Do it tomorrow. Let's break with tradition. I love tradition. I'm 10,000 years old.
I'm sure they'd give you the Zoom without a time limit if you just ask.
I'm trying to get the vaccine, but it is just not available. The federal government should have done a better job coordinating it nationwide.
Can I not summon with my hand from the sea just a vial amount of it? Just fill up a needle? That's all Poseidon wants. I guess 2. It's going to be a double dose.
4 weeks apart.
I'm not Lord of the Vaccine, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's Vexinus. That's my brother Vexinus.
Many do not believe in Vexinus. They are fools.
Vexinus is good. We have him now as an IP. We have to trademark him.
Yeah. He'll show up soon. Anyway, yeah, he parts. I don't know. There was a curtain of water potentially that was going to happen. This seemed great, and it is like it's funny. This happens to us in attractions sometimes, where there's just this phantom feeling like there should have been something. Like, why isn't this our favorite thing from our childhoods? And I feel like Poseidon is the answer.
Yeah, he's a missing piece, I think, for sure.
Yeah,
and there are. Yeah, I think maybe we've talked about this before. It's like Figment looms so large in that, and obviously the ride, because he's the star of the ride, he does a lot. But if it's like, maybe if they had just positioned some other new original characters on some of these rides, they could have lasted longer and been more of a big deal to kids' brains. But then it still retained their sort of educational nature.
Yeah.
I'd say, even as a kid, though, I kind of liked Epcot days, because I knew it was just a different vibe. There was like, I was a nerdy little child. I liked the educational aspect. I liked the different, vibes of the pavilions and the attractions and stuff. And especially Magic Kingdom, trying to pack stuff in, or even MGM Studios at its height had quite a bit to try and do in a day.
Sure. I just mean for me, which I also loved going to Epcot, it's just, my brain isn't that clear on remembering some of these things. Like, I don't have those childhood memories that are so strong, like a few of the other places in Epcot, and then, of course, the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Well, what I remember is I was scared all day in Epcot. It was all scary. Giant, what's the architectural, brutalist architecture, I think is the term, and that makes sense. All the buildings scared me in a way that I think about the buildings nonstop. I love all the architecture. Not only that, it's all as I've said, none of my friends are here. I'm probably not going to see Mickey or anybody. I'm going to see lots of upset bearded adults, whether that be Jules Verne or it could have been Poseidon, the most upset, biggest bearded adult.
Constantly.
Little Scott, your friends aren't here for you.
Your friends can't help you now. You have dared rattle the sea.
You'll be
I didn't
scared.
do anything. I'm 7.
And you, little Michael, I can tell you don't buy it. I can tell you don't believe this shit. I want you to believe it. And throws water at me.
So Hydrolator, it's cool. You saw the bubbles go.
Yeah.
You went deep as far as you know.
What else do you want?
The other thing I think, and this takes us into the next area of the thing, but this is another Epcot attraction with rides through dark corridors. Almost every one of them is a slow-moving vehicle through a dark tunnel. I think that, I can't remember how dark and tunnel-y World of Motion was, but I bet Fairly So Horizons definitely. Universe of Energy isn't so claustrophobic, but it's extremely dark a lot of the time. Spaceship Earth, very dark.
Yes.
And then the sea cabs were pretty much I guess you had the glow, but aquariums are dark. Water's dark.
Yeah. It's all aesthetically the same. It's one thing bleeds into another. It's which concept album did we say Epcot is like?
Abbey Road? The second half of Abbey Road?
Second half, maybe a wizard. Todd Rundgren's a wizard, a true star. Kind of blends.
Bless you, yes.
Yeah, into, you know what I'm saying.
Each one bleeds into the next. Yeah, you're not sure where one ends and the next begins.
I don't think, is there a Kiss album like that for Monday that I could throw in here?
Oh, how do we, how do we frame this Kiss concept album? Yeah, you're right. That's the key to, I don't know the album, but it looks like they have an album called Music from the Elder. This is maybe their concept album. So, Monday, if you're listening, and the answer is probably no, the Living Seas, or actually Epcot in general, is like Music from the Elder. Got it?
Yeah, perfect.
Is it didn't they all do, there was a day where each one released a solo album without makeup on? Am I conflating things with that?
That's right.
Yeah, they for sure the makeup off period in the 80s, and maybe we'll know if Money listened to, because I probably just got that wrong, and he'll call and yell at me. But yeah, there was They had to do some gimmicks.
So I don't know theme park equivalent of solo albums without the makeup. But what's like? Is it like Ambition? Is that Islands of Adventure or something? Like Untrodden Territory?
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, where I'm losing my train of thought.
I'm also just like, by the way, the Elder saw music from the Elder has a character named Morpheus in it.
Wow, really?
Yeah. There's a lot going on. Maybe I need to check out the boy. That it's just long tracks. One's called The Oath. One's called Escape from the Island. I mean, this sounds potentially dreadful. But again, I don't want to lose Mundy or any Kiss fans.
He's tried to get us way into Kiss for a long time, which I'm not against Kiss. I like some of the songs, but I've not gotten the whole thing about Kiss. But obviously, the pageantry and the nonsense we would like. And the merch, of course. Yeah. But maybe this is our way in. Maybe this is our way in, is what I'm saying.
I'm scared of the tracks A World Without Heroes and Odyssey. As much as I'd like to meet their Morpheus.
I mean, is it all probably right-wing propaganda from Gene Simmons? Maybe. I don't know.
He might not have turned in 81 yet. I don't know.
That's possible.
Anyways, the turning, that's what the theater does. Turns 180 degrees. Then you end up in this hypothetical version of the vehicle that would have taken you into the attraction. As Jason said, it was a more of a, or did Mike say it? It was an omni-mover. That's what it is today. It's like the clamshells that take you into the sea base. But they initially envisioned like a much longer ride, more like a 10-minute ride where you're in clear bubbles. I think Jim Hill described them as pearls. You're inside clear pearls and you're going through clear tubes. So as you're passing through this tank, you are now much more immersed in, like, you could be just, a couple inches away from a shark. Like, you have the full beauty of the tank and you're in it, and the danger of what if there was a leak or something.
Yeah, and there was a tank, but then there was like show scenes planned too, and I think there was like a planned maybe like there's not a picture of it, but I think there was a shark attack planned of some kind. Whoa. And then you would run into Poseidon again. Like, there's in the Martins vids, there's pictures of all the little like scenes from like a big model on a table. So it's kind of hard to see which is which, but all you can tell just by like, you go through a bunch of very detailed show scenes. It reminds me a little bit of how they did 20,000 Leagues at Tokyo Disney Sea. But it's not the same ride system. Honestly.
Yeah, where it is not, maybe there's sections of it that are not fully underwater, but you're using lighting effects and mist and bubbles and stuff to fake that you are underwater.
Right. And 20,000 Leagues has to have fake coral, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I would have to imagine. Yeah.
So.
I think that was really epic. Like the entrance to this base and the concept art that you look at, it just seemed like so much grander than where they ended up.
Yes.
Yeah. I just love the painterly kind of like paperback book cover almost of like a lot of the early Epcot concept art, and the base itself really looks a lot like Sea Lab 2020 in terms of pods with like walkways between it all.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, totally.
Which I think that was very, very popular at the time. Very future looking at the time, like sea bases and biospheres. I think.
Right.
I don't know when the Biosphere 1 and Biosphere 2, I think, came a little later.
I mean, it's very even Star Trek, obviously in space, but it's very the vibe of sort of, especially I think the first Star Trek movie. It's a little bit like 2001 inspired. I feel like in its, I guess partly because the music and the tone, it all feels a little unnerving or a lot unnerving depending on which part of the pre-show or which art you're looking at. But there is something kind of odd and eerie about all of it too. It's not like, yay, we're underwater and it's a utopian city. It's kind of like research is done here with the depths of the sea where anything can happen. Anything horrible can happen.
Well, yeah, it feels like the setup for like this is it's like it's the first third of, I don't know, the Abyss or the Thing, or I mean, especially the Abyss because it's underwater, but or Aliens, or like As if like this is all right. Settle in here to this place where most of your friends will die.
It really, yeah, it's crazy. Like, here, I'm just gonna do this right now. This is the pre-show movie for the actual Living Seas, and I'm sure you guys watched it. It is so friggin' scary.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then rises back to the ocean floor as a superheated mineral-laden fluid, emitting what to us would be lethal concentrations of poisonous chemicals. Yet, incredibly, around these strange vents, exotic life forms flourish.
I mean, there's like, I feel like I hear like stabs in there of like a violin, like in a horror movie. Like there's, it's scored in such a way to freak the fuck out of you.
It's like John Carpenter didn't direct it, but he scored it. They brought him in just for music, just to make it extra unnerving.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's, by the way, I think that's awesome, but I am interested at the choice because there's never a part of it where it's fully resolved in like a major chord. It's never like, and here's C bass alpha. It's like better music. It's like happier sounding music when they reveal like the schematic of C bass alpha, but it never resolves itself. It never makes you feel like, oh, and now everything's going to be fine.
No, it's very haunting, ethereal, and almost pushing experimental. And it's very funny to think about when you think about the sponsor, United Technologies, now a division of the Raytheon company, spent $90 million on this pavilion. Like this major corporate sponsor. And like this is how it starts with this weird, like there's no characters. There's no people, right? In that video, or barely any animals. It's mostly the sea and storms and nature. And I think it's funny. I liked it as a kid. I was a little scared. And I think if something was just slightly different in the tilt of the world, I would have leaned into like what other movies are kind of scary like that, instead of like get leaned into like MGM Studios of like, where can I get a copy of Singing in the Rain?
There was so much scariness at Epcot because I forgot there was even a movie in this thing, but of course it makes me think of the post Maelstrom Norway film, which is very severe and banging on iron and the Maelstrom itself, where you dive into a storm and flaming oil barracks. I like so much of Epcot was scary in a real world way. It's not like alien encounter scary. It's not sci-fi scary. It's the world you're in is a scary place.
Yes.
Young Scott.
Back over the falls.
It's such a ballsy the word. It's such an it's odd, but also like I think that's what the Imagineering people were going for. That's the idea.
It was not supposed to be a fully friendly place besides Figment, and I guess it's just still an odd swing because I mean I don't really know the history of when Epcot was struggling, or if that was the calculation at the time, or that it had to be like fixed or injected with energy or more like but it does seem like there was an era where it didn't quite land. And I don't know, like did like a ton of adults want to go experience things about like steel and flames and disasters? Like was this what people really wanted? I'm obsessed with Epcot. I hope none of this sounds super negative. But it just like, I don't know, were people jazzed ever on the Living Seas movie? Like that rules.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm sure, like, it was a giant aquarium. It was the biggest aquarium, I think, in the world for a little while, right? Like before the Georgia Aquarium. So like Dad's. Sorry, go. Did you have this?
Oh, I was gonna. Yeah, I have it. It's a 5.7 million gallon tank, and that's not counting like the filtering tanks or the prep tanks. And for a long time, it was technically the largest saltwater aquarium in the world until that Georgia aquarium opened a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. So like I feel like a dad likes to go to the aquarium.
Yeah.
An 80s, 90s dad, we'll go to the aquarium and take a look at the fish. So he would like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he wanted to watch the scary film strip beforehand.
That's what, or like, I mean, you see still, I mean, it's gone now, but you saw when the Maelstrom was open, people just like sprint out of the theater so they did not have to watch the post-ride movie. Like because I feel like some of my Epcot obsession is with things that like didn't super resonate with people. Like that's what resonates with me, is that it's this extremely expensive theme park where there's huge swaths of it that I think scared people or even bored people or
for sure
just
bored
unnerved people. I hope I'm not sounding anti-Epcot. It's all that stuff that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, I think I said on the Universe of Energy when Lindsay and I went on it like a couple days before it closed forever, the guy next to us fell asleep on it. Like within 10 to 15 minutes, he was asleep on Universe of Energy. And that has to happen all day long with that ride for its whole existence.
That was one of the reasons my dad liked that ride. People like little sleepy break rides. It gets so hot in Florida, you need to take a rest at some point.
You're not going to get to take a break when Rocket Raccoon is shouting on you on a roller coaster. That's not going to happen. You can't take a little nap that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was different metrics of success back then. I think as the 80s went along, they were, you start to see the rise of like the Wall Street era of like, we've got to keep the shareholders happy. But like, at least when Epcot started, there was an intent of education, of it. Let's do something different. Let's play with people's expectations. Let's edutainment, that sort of thing. And you also saw like all these corporate sponsors seem to like be in line with that. And I don't know that companies ever fully had tact, but I feel like, I don't know, I think stuff is more craven nowadays of like, well, we've got to hit the 4 quadrants and we've got to get the characters in there and the characters have to appeal to these
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a joke. Like, there's a reason that there was a joke, and I guess still remains a joke, that Epcot is boring and it sucks. And I don't hold that opinion, but there's a reason that joke exists. That's in the culture. I think it's going away. I do think it's in a similar way, though, to an album that's underappreciated its first 20 years. It's like your McCartney Ram. It's your McCartney 1 and 2, where people go, what the hell is this? This isn't as good as the Beatles. And then 30 years later, you go, oh, I see what he was doing. A lot of this stuff's great.
And now you want everything to be like that again.
Yes.
Do more stuff like that.
Do more stuff like that, and not like For You, his song with Ryan Tedder, even though I kind of like the song For You.
Yeesh. I don't know what the theme park equivalent of For You is. New management.
Yeah.
Tiki Room under new management.
Maybe.
So there was this grand vision of what it was going to be, and I don't really know what happened when you got to the base. I think that all might have been sort of similar, but there was certainly a much more ornate, attraction-ified intro to this ride. I guess with that, should we talk about what did end up being there, or what was the experience pre the Nemo infusion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course.
I mean, there was a standing. I kind of always forgot about this. There was like a standing kind of slideshow pre-show early on. That was also pretty weird and ethereal. There was the queue. The queue had a lot of artifacts about sea exploration, sea adventuring. And then the like other element pre-Hydrolator is that movie, Mike, that you played a little snippet of, which was like a sit-down theater.
Right.
Scary movie. Terrifying movie.
Movie. And it is very much set up like a movie you would have seen in school. But it has the score of a horror film.
It's so similar in tone to the thing I keep bringing up, the weird Philadelphia 1776 movie that was very frightening, and yet my mom made my class watch it, and it had to be said, Mrs. Gairdner provided this film.
Yeah.
Any chance to watch a video, Scott? I would have been sending your mother a thank you note, probably.
Yeah, that's true. I'm forgetting that aspect. Yeah, it gave people a chance to nap, just as the Living Seas movie gave dads a chance to nap.
And let's not forget this added benefit of Epcot. If you took a trip to Disney World during the school year and you had to make up some bullshit that it was educational, you're in the bag with Epcot, baby. You do a little summary of your days at Epcot. Done.
That is a good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. You could justify, like, if you paid attention, you can learn something. I mean, obviously, the greater lesson here is that humans can mess up the Earth all they want, but the Earth will win. I mean, that's the message of this film strip itself, is that, like, the sea will win. The sea is going to get all of us, and there's nothing we can do about it.
No question.
The sea runs the show, baby.
Now, please enter the sea.
Now, please.
Now that you've been reminded that the sea will kill you.
It will kill you. It will kill your great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren at a certain point to reset the Earth after all of you monsters fucked it up. But anyway, here's a fun omnimover.
And
we're being kill you right now if you aren't careful on a boat or something.
Yep.
We're being reminded of that right now in January 2021 with the revival of sea shanty TikTok. Everyone's doing collaborative sea shanty singing. Very thrilling.
What?
Why?
This is one of the thrilling. People started singing sea shanties on TikTok, and then there's this duet feature where then you can sing along, and then people, it's like picture in picture in picture, and everyone's singing along. I saw someone online positing that, like, we've been distancing ourselves from each other, and this is like songs that were simple and could be sung without accompaniment, and so, like, it's a way to keep connected. It's the revival. Everyone's into sea shanties all of a sudden. I didn't understand the Ratatouille musical stuff, but I'm here for old sea shanties coming back around.
I also zoned out when anything Ratatouille musical showed up.
Okay, all right.
I'm sure everyone seemed like they're having a blast. Godspeed.
Yeah, good, God bless. I'm not mad at it or anything. I just was okay.
What you just said, Jason, about TikTok, I think that maybe sums up my feelings. Everyone seems like they're having a blast. You guys, you have fun. Not for me. Be weird if I showed up. I got the dad pass now. I'm not going to learn about any app until my son is on one, and then I can make fun of whatever he's doing on it, and we can have a combative relationship about the app. Until then, no apps for me.
That's a good point. You are a dad now, so we're going to have to start. Maybe it's just because you didn't grow up in the Northeast of America. We're going to have to get you into some tall ships soon. We're going to have to start getting you into some nautical history stuff. It's time.
Oh, no. I guess today's the day. We're talking about the seas.
Folks, have you ever said to yourself, I love the fact that I've been using these same sheets that I've had since college, and I just wash them every couple weeks. It's fine. It's perfect. I love it. No one's ever said that. Stop it. Brooklinen can make that voice in your head and the bad sheets on your bed go away, okay? This is a company that was created by Rich and Vicky, who also tried to find beautiful home essentials that didn't cost an arm and a leg. And when they couldn't, they founded Brooklinen as the first direct-to-consumer bedding company. Brooklinen has a variety of sheets, colors, patterns, and materials to fit your needs and tastes. Brooklinen has over 50,000 five-star reviews and counting. They are so confident that you'll love their products, they even offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. Folks, I have Brooklinen sheets on the bed upstairs. Yes, it is a nice sheet. It is smart. It makes me look like a classy guy. Am I a classy guy? I try to be. But these sheets, they do a lot of the work for me. Okay, it's 2021. Do something nice for yourself to start the new year. To help you do that, Brooklinen has a special offer. Go to brooklinen.com and use promo code RIDE to get $25 off when you spend $100 or more, plus free shipping. That's Brooklinen, BROOKLINEN.com, and enter promo code RIDE to get $25 off when you spend $100 or more, plus free shipping. Brooklinen.com and use promo code RIDE at checkout. Remember it.
how do you choose which internet service provider you use? The sad thing is, most of us have very little choice because ISPs operate like monopolies in the regions they serve. They then use this monopoly power to take advantage of customers, data caps, streaming throttles. The list goes on and on. But worst of all, many ISPs log your internet activity and sell that data on to other big tech companies or advertisers. To prevent ISPs from seeing my internet activity, I protect all of my devices with Expressvpn. It's a simple app for your computer or smartphone that encrypts all your network data and tunnels it through a secure VPN server so that your ISP can't see any of your activity. Just download the app, tap one button, and you're protected. And it does all of this without slowing your connection. That's why it's rated the #1 VPN service by CNET and Wired. So stop handing over your personal data to ISPs and other tech giants who mine your activity and sell off your information. Protect yourself with the VPN I trust to keep me private online. Visit expressvpn.com/ride. That's expressvpn.com/ride to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/ride right now to learn more.
Well, a lot of our favorite characters and personalities love the sea, like your Popeyes, your Jimmy Buffetts.
Yeah,
those are my favorite characters.
Our collective
I'm scared of Popeye. Popeye
Really?
looks weird. The movie's scary. I always try to watch it because I think it'll be interesting. I watched it for the podcast because I like Popeye Village, and then I'm still just like, oh, this movie, get me away from the sea. Poseidon would be furious at me.
Captain Jack Sparrow, also. Guy on the sea.
No, of course I'm a Jack Sparrow stan. Ride or die. And whatever's going on with the actor playing him, that's not for me to know. I'm concerned about the character.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
I don't know I don't know the actor's name who plays him. I don't know. I love Jack Sparrow, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
okay.
And of course his uncle who's in jail or whatever that is. I don't know that actor either. He looks a lot like that guy who sings "For You."
He's got like a dad that looks like the guy who plays guitar on Satisfaction as well.
Again, I don't know any of these names.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay, so scary movie, and then we go to the Hydrollators. Let's talk Hydrollators.
What's there not to say about the Hydrollators?
What's there? It mimics an elevator. It's the same kind of trick, basically, they do with the Haunted Mansion in Florida, where like you're stationary, but the walls are like sort of going up. A little different because you're looking through windows at water and rocks, and those kind of move and stuff.
I guess Jason, you might put this in the category of that I bought the illusion. I don't think I had done a hydrolator since I was a child, but as far as I knew, that was descending. I honestly didn't know until this research that was a still room with effects. I truly didn't know that.
With like a little rumbling floor and lights flickering. And did you guys come across the urban legend about the lawsuit, the fake? It's bullshit.
Yeah. Yes.
But so the apocryphal tale, and it seems like Yesterland kind of traced it back to like Marty Sklar in an interview. One explanation, he's kind of tossed this out, and it was like a joke going around, and then it became the tour guides were telling it. And it's an apocryphal story that a woman tried to sue Disney, or a man, it changes every time, that, my eardrums burst at the pressure drop in the hydrolators. And then the jury and the judge went to, like, Disney Imagineers, like, come look at this. And they opened both hydrolated doors, and then they immediately threw out the case. This didn't happen. Like,
okay. So that's just urban legend that they like to build up. I heard an interview with one of the main Imagineers behind this, Tim Delaney, on I think he's been on Season Pass, but he was on this podcast, Tomorrow Society. Shout out to them. On this podcast, he presented the story as real. Like maybe he's still keeping up the urban legend, and maybe that's what Marty Sklar was doing too. But it was that I honestly was listening to the story, and that was where I found out. Like, oh wait, it wasn't It didn't move? I really didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tim Delaney's very cool. I mean, this interview is great. Any interview I've heard with him is great. And he's if people don't know this special about the making of Space Mountain Paris, where you follow him from Imaginary back and forth to Paris while he puts this attraction together, which is the first launch coaster, and it's the first coaster with onboard audio. And it seems like this guy Tim sort of thought of some of that stuff or was really pushing for it. Anyway, Tim Delaney, very cool, and I think he's responsible for a lot of the cool stuff in this attraction and that concept art, like how amazing the exterior looked when this thing opened. Was Tim Delaney.
Interesting. I'm interested to know now if he's keeping up the kayfabe, Disney kayfabe, as far as lawsuits are concerned.
Maybe. I mean, it's the story that proves how well the illusion worked. That people bought it. That woman, that hypothetical woman, bought it.
Can I don't want this to turn into a 30-minute tangent, but I want to ask you guys something. Since we're talking about kayfabe and whether something is real or bullshit, do you guys think that Disney Funerals website is real? Do you think that's a bit? Do you know what I'm talking about? This was going around like a week or two ago.
I know something about this, but I don't know maybe enough to comment on it.
I tweeted like a reaction or a joke to it, but it was like about how like if you're a real like parks like we figured out a way to put theme park loops in your coffin, and like the characters who we can't say which characters will like kiss you goodbye, like kiss your coffin before it's lowered. And it was like a very janky website. This was going around. This like hit regular like kind of
magicalpassings.com.
I think it's. I'm conflicted because I think the reasons I think it's real are like regular people don't know the phrase theme park loops. And no one in theme park world is as funny as we are. So like this website is pretty like darkly humorous.
Wow.
So I'm like,
Jason going bold again.
I think that is a lukewarm take. I don't think that's
yeah.
But this kind of went around like comedians were making fun of it on Twitter too, and I was just like, I don't know if this is real or fake. My choice of, by the way, the theme park music would be played in the coffin, but also played from the gravestone, so all the dead and mourners would need to hear it, would be the music from the Tapestry of Nations parade. So that is how I haunt the living.
I gotta look. I have seen this, but I haven't done enough investigating. I will give a ruling maybe next time we record. I'll investigate.
Wait, it says at the bottom, I'm sorry to not keep the end, but I just saw it. I had to say, this site is meant as satirical and a parody site. No actual services are performed.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the Into You, magicalpassings.com. I guess an interesting thought, though. It's that. How long does this loop play? Forever?
In theory, for eternity.
Dies?
Yeah, and if it's fake. So,
well, gotta go with Droid Rooms from Star Tours.
I'll say this: I'm a little unnerved now because who that's funny has entered the arena of theme park.
I know.
Media, you know?
I have to tip my hat then to whoever made this site, because the specifics were very good, but they tipped it by going like, we can't post a phone number here, we've been harassed when we've posted it before. So and I think that was the real clue.
That's a good bit, so shout out to whoever that is.
Yeah this seems pretty well done from what I could tell, but not real. We figured it out.
Back to something that can kill you: the briny depths of the sea.
Hydrollators, they don't move. It's a Disney tricky elevator. And much like the Haunted Mansion in Florida, where that in that one the ground doesn't move.
Yeah.
And then similar, or wait, is it similar to the one the elevator in Tokyo Disney Sea on Journey?
I was going to bring that up. I think
that
we talked about them.
Right?
Doesn't it move up?
Yeah,
I think it's actually taking you up, even though the idea is that you're moving down to the center of the earth. But I don't really know the geography.
I apologize. Someone's yelling, of course, at the podcast. Not Monday. It's somebody else. I know which way it goes, and you don't. We'll look at when we do the episode, when Jason goes to Japan. Jason, will you go to Japan right after you get the vaccine, please?
I was trying to figure out if I'm going to Japan or I'm going to Europe. I keep going back
to Japan.
and forth.
We have a ride we need to do.
I know.
Japan.
I guess that's the one.
4 days. Go 4 days.
Because then we can do an entire year about Japan.
We need to do Sinbad. We need to do Journey. We need to do... oh, my God. We can get so much material out of you going to Japan.
Oh, I mean, Jaws is just going. I was going to joke because we were talking about Rhodey. Rhodey would likely sacrifice going to a theme park to do some cultural experiences, and I'm the opposite. I'll probably end up missing a couple cultural experiences just to ride Jaws again. But, yeah, I mean... Look, as soon as I can get that vaccine and stuff, I'll probably go to Florida as soon as I get the vaccine.
All right, if we have anyone in the government listening, please put Jason on a high priority list. If you could change Jason's age in the like a computer to like 75, that would be helpful.
Yeah,
use his mental age.
Yeah, use my temperament age.
We'll get him on a plane like next week.
Yeah.
If we can get this vaccine.
Going off his interests, he's 75.
Yes. Sea shanties, educational theme parks.
Favorite character is Popeye.
Tall ships. I saw a lot of tall ships as a kid, guys. That was...
Jason on a train napping while Mount Fuji goes by, and then he wakes up at Universal Studios. My God.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. We get out of the hydrollators, which didn't actually take you anywhere, and we get on to the sea cabs. Now here with the sea cabs is where we get some contention going. So as we've said, this ended up what could have been a 10-minute pretty grand trip into an underwater bubble ended up being sort of a trip through a corridor on Omnimovers. It's 3 minutes long. It's you do get cool views of the tank, and if you watch old videos of it, you see scuba divers and you see cool animals, and that's all great. However, so I didn't really have strong feelings about the sea cabs either way. But let me do some history of when the first time that my wife Erin and I discussed Epcot. She now today, I had to like convince her like, oh, actually there's this whole thing with Epcot where it's like, it's this early 80s aesthetic and it's really locked in time. And there were all these bizarre, insanely long, all the stuff we've been talking about. And I got her on board and she loves Epcot and wears an Epcot shirt all the time. We're all big Epcot heads. But the first time I ever brought it up, like, I was like, what do you think about Epcot? And she's like, oh, is that the place with the sea cabs? And I was like, oh, that's your main takeaways, the sea cabs? And she said, yeah, well, my family went there when I was in high school. And we first of all, we're confused by the map. Just like, where are the rides? Like, can you imagine? This is where we get into dad joke, and I'll pin this on her father, who's great. But like, he's looking at he came from Magic Kingdom where like, there's a picture of a roller coaster. Here's another picture of a roller coaster. Now we're looking at pavilions and the land and wonders of life. What are you talking? And you don't see any like drawings of rides anywhere. So like, I don't know, let's take a stab at it. Let's go to the Living Seas. You get in an elevator that doesn't go anywhere. Then you get on the sea cabs. You're like, okay, here we go. We're on a ride. The ride is over in 3 minutes. The ride is mostly dark. It is called the Sea Cabs. Everyone is like, Sea Cabs, and they just grumbled about that name all day. This sucks. You want to leave? Yeah, let's go back to the Magic Kingdom. They went back to the Magic Kingdom, and that was it. They left Epcot Center. They were so mad at the Sea Cabs, and that is where it loomed for Aaron's family for a long time.
Yeah, it's like going, hey, I love the Beatles. I'm putting on this new Paul McCartney album, Ram, and you go like, let's just flip around. Oh, Ram on. It's like this like weird sounding ukulele song. Huh? Well, never mind. Let's go just listen to Let It Be. What are we doing here?
That's maybe kind of the feel. Now, have I told that story? And in telling that story, have I made Aaron into a villain of this podcast? Much like Nick Mundy.
You've made...
Have I damned Aaron? I swear she figured it out. Loves Epcot. We love Epcot. Yeah. We spent so much time at Epcot last time we were there.
I think that's a good example of like the difficulty when theme park designers are like, let's try something different. Let's try something new. I'll say this. I love the Navi River journey. And I think it's rare, like, but that is trying to achieve, like, serenity, right? Like, it's trying to evoke a feeling of peace and relaxation. And in the middle of the hottest theme park in Florida, with these, like, giant wait times for the attraction right above us, that is a bit of a contrast to try and get people to go, like, well, now try a theme park ride about peace with nature. You know, that is a little bit of a hard sell.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a hard sell as much. First of all, Scott, I want to say I don't think Erin's a villain. You have made her father into a podcast the right villain, though.
Apparently so. Right. I will not say his legal name for that reason.
Right. But I think with Navi River Journey, that's still a lot more clear. It's like if Navi River Journey was like the Living Seas Pavilion, there would be like 10 different ways to get in. One door led you to a place where you would eat the Navi. Another door led you to a place where you would go on a ride to see a Navi. Another ride another door, you would like just get to the exit of the river journey. Like I think it's more in the explanation and the confusion than it is, and the expectation of what something a Disney park might be, as opposed to the actual ride experience itself. If it was like Living Seas is an aquarium. It's a cool aquarium with a little tiny fun ride. I think then you know what to expect. Versus like, hey, we went on Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like 9 minutes. It's awesome. It's got so many robots. And then you go in here and you go, what the hell is what? We were in like a Haunted Mansion ride vehicle for 3 minutes and we saw some fish, but what? Why would we? There's pirates.
You don't take the mini ships to the main vessel, which is your transit to the final pirate island, where there are 6 different pirate exhibits that you can break off and experience.
So I have to imagine it's confusing because like a lot of those places have post shows with stuff to do, and I know they expanded some of that as it went on. And I remember even kind of as a kid being a little unclear. I do remember confusion about exactly where a ride started and what. I remember that it's not nearly as clear as, going to the Magic Kingdom and just going in. Here's the line for this thing. Right. You would like end up in a pavilion. Sorry. Yeah. And then you'd be like, oh, I guess we're at the exit of a ride.
To me, the thing that you said, Jason, about like there isn't the core attraction. It's like a bunch of different experiences. That's like not super successful to me here because I think like with the other, I think I like that in the other Epcot pavilions there's the other stuff that you do, but it is Universe of Energy, the ride. It is there is this main simulator in Wonders of Life or whatever it is. I think it is odd to have a ride that takes you to a place, but it's really more of a little transportation. It's almost like if there was only the Lieutenant Beck room and then not the rest of, or then you get off on the ship and you look at the stormtroopers and there isn't the rest of Rise of the Resistance after.
It's like you could get on at the pre-show to Rise of the Resistance. You could just get onto the Lieutenant Beck ship. You could also skip that and go into the main line for the main ride, or you could enter in the back because there's a post-show to it that you could do like play on a computer.
And if you could watch a very dry film about how the trade wars came to be,
it's called the prequels.
That's what the prequels. Yeah. That's the pre-show of the Star Wars movies.
Well, now let me toss off this. Thinking about who they would have been trying to attract with, come to Epcot, the first 10 years or whatever. Come to Epcot. Spend your money, set aside a day for this, or like, you get it. If you buy the hotel and you want a park ticket, we also give you Epcot. And the marketing of it's a permanent World's Fair and kids who are growing up in the 50s and 60s, does that square more? Does that selling make more sense to our parents' generation?
Well, because you're saying that, like, since that was sort of a big thing with pavilions and it was a little bit looser in terms of how you would manage lines and move people in and out of things, you're saying that maybe they might be more used to that?
Yeah, that there is like a combination entertainment educational. Because I think I think my mom and dad, who grew up on the East Coast, like my dad went to the New York World's Fair a number of times, and they would watch the Disneyland show every Sunday, and they were just like, oh, we wish we could go to California, but as we have talked about in the past, that's impossible. Once Disney World opened, they were primed and ready to go. And not just to Disney, the Magic Kingdom, to eventually to Epcot.
Well, I think from everything you've said, your parents were really enamored with the World's Fair and went to the World's Fair. I don't know everything about Aaron's dad, but I'd be willing to wager he doesn't give a fuck about the World's Fair.
And yeah,
so
I was
going to
say, yeah. But
it might factor in.
When people were still getting used to like air travel going down the coast, you know, I mean, when Disney World opened in the contemporary gift shop, they were still like, and send fresh citrus at home year round. Isn't that unique? Like that was.
Yeah, but this is 1997, and he loves planes and roller coasters.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, he's not at a troglodyte.
No, by that point, by like 97, that's when you start to see Epcot change.
Yeah.
That's when you start to see interventions and more like characters and stuff.
I think it's just because it's like the Disney precedent had been set for a few decades at that point.
Yeah.
Probably. Then people had been trained a certain way to experience a Disney park. And it was just like confusing. Because like the thing, I think now that we're older, there is a lot of fun for us because we go to like happen upon something. Like that is a fun thing to have, like, because you like to roam, you like to go notice stuff. But most people, especially, you know, I'm sure like 10 years ago even, it's like, just give me the list of 10 things. What are the 10 things? Point me in the direction. And I bet overall there's a much bigger percentage as we get older and as the sickness that we give out
that we super spread.
The pandemic of theme park minutia that we are helping to spread into the population.
Too much about things, yeah.
It appears you were exposed by 3 men who were very excited to tell you that executive Frank Wells was in the tank with Scuba Mickey on opening day. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, that does. Yes, anytime we go to Epcot, I drag anyone around me and I point. I say, that's where Frank Wells was.
That's where
he was in the tank.
And opening day ceremonies, you know, there were some people in some weird flowy toga things doing a song and dance. It was an Epcot pavilion. They had to have that.
So I think as that subculture grows, I think maybe now it would be more acceptable now for like that type of structure to all of this stuff. But yeah, I'm sure plenty of families had that exact same thing. I bet they missed big, cool things at Epcot.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they didn't really know where to go.
So I don't totally agree with that assessment, and I had to onboard Aaron about Epcot after this, but I've always had sea cabs in my head. Just the disdain with which she said the word sea cabs. It just soured her on the whole thing. I guess, I don't know. You know, that I think about it, I think it is kind of a dumb word. I'm going to say that. I'm sorry if I'm pissing off any sea cab fans out there.
Sea cab is funny because, like, if you really, it's like a cat, like going, yeah, we're gonna get in the cab now. A cab is such a utilitarian, kind of boring sounding word, just purely to get you from one place to another. It's not a limo, it's not a party, but there's nothing fun's gonna happen in the cab. It's just
yes, pure transit. Yes,
yeah,
it's
transit.
Like, the sea bus. It may as well be called like the sea bus.
Is it okay? This is probably a reach. Were they trying to connect it to these sea cows floating in a tank mere feet away from the sea cabs?
Sea cows? Like
manatees, sea cows, the gentle giants of the
sea cabs
of the waterways.
Sea cows,
yeah,
sure. Makes sense.
Possible. I don't know if this was really like a direct homage, but and we'll eventually do a big episode on it. The original Walt Epcot vision, video he had about it was going to be a real city. It definitely had like omnimover people movers moving people in and out of cities.
Oh yeah.
And I don't remember if he was going to, maybe he was just going to call that a people mover. I haven't watched the video in a while. I don't think he was going to call them like air cabs, but maybe.
I think it had like everything, because like the monorails were slightly medium distance. People movers were for shorter distances, and all the cars were under the city if they had to have truck deliveries and stuff.
And then outside, this is like
outside,
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's crazy.
Outside is there's a big dome, and you can't come in or leave, and you're shot if you try to invade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That we should probably do that. We should just watch through on that one, maybe.
Yeah.
Eventually.
That'd be a good one. Hey, talking about bizarre footage and everything. Did anybody watch the Living Seas special, the opening special?
Yeah. The like the dancing stuff.
No, the John Ritter hosted.
Oh, I didn't actually.
Yeah, I only saw snippets of this.
This is, well, I think I did too, because I faded in and out of sleep while watching it. Now, this is okay, the opening day, 1986, opening special for the Living Seas on NBC. This is a thing on paper that I should love. I love John Ritter. I love Olivia Newton-John, who is billed as appearing in it. I love Duran Duran, and Simon Le Bon is going to be in this special. So, like, wow, this is a stacked lineup. This is going to be a blast. This is the most bummer thing Disney has ever made. All the stuff you're saying about, like, someday the sea will swallow you, that's exactly what this is. There's a part where John Ritter says something about our fears of the seas are entirely justified. And like, you're from Three's Company. You like do pratfalls. Why did Disney bring you in to warn us about the sea? And then it has one of the strangest things maybe ever in a Disney special, which is like, okay, so they're showing you like, different iterations of the ocean and stuff. Like including, Walt's been always so obsessed with the sea that his first cartoon was about it. Steamboat Willie. And you're like, wait a minute.
Okay, well now, hold on.
It's a boat, but that's above a river. I don't know if... I think that is Mickey avoiding the sea, trying to stay above it.
Yeah.
So that's weird. But then, people are still, to this day, obsessed with nautical stuff. And then they show clips of the Duran Duran Rio video, which is on a yacht and super cool. And like, okay, and this is actually a little hip for MTV to be talking about Duran Duran and Rio. And now here's a message from Simon Le Bon, who very soberly describes a real experience he had where he was part of a yacht race and the yacht capsized and he was trapped inside with 6 crew members for 40 minutes and thought he was going to die.
What?
Yeah. It's wild. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Le Bon. Oh, is he going to sing? Is he going to do Notorious or something? No. It is the saddest thing he says at some point. Those screams still come back to haunt me.
What?
I also just highlighted the phrase pale blue death.
What?
This had happened to him the year before in 1985. And again, you think like, what's Duran Duran doing in the 80s? Probably living it up, just like having sex with all the women, being on top of the world. But no, Simon Le Bon wanted to be a yacht racer, and he was punished by Poseidon. And now at the beginning of it, he says, when the producers asked me to say something about the seas, I thought long and hard about what I would... And then it's like a 10-minute version of this near-death story.
What?
And I'm like, when the producers asked you to do this, you should have said, get the fuck out! The sea almost killed me! How dare you! Don't you read the news?
Wow.
Anyway, it's so weird, this story was apparently the boat was called Drum. There's a full documentary about this called Drum: The Journey of a Lifetime with a Philip Glass score. You can hear about Simon Le Bon almost dying. And then after this in the special, Olivia Newton-John sings a really sad song about dolphins. And then Laura Branigan, singer of Gloria, I believe, sings the saddest song you've ever heard. It's like, this is a truly morose special.
Oh my God.
So if you want to get bummed out about, if anybody out there's bummed about things that are happening lately, and instead you want to be bummed about things in 1986, watch this special.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sad I missed this now. I mean, I'm going to be sadder when I see it, but I'm sad I missed it in theory.
I've been saving. Look, I go to, I'm very tired with the baby all the time. And I'm like doing my research late at night and like fading in and out of, I've had half a beer and I'm watching this special when it's late for me at 8:30 p.m. and like, what is he talking about? Son of the Bono is dead. It was very, very surreal and grim. I feel like I had bad dreams about Simon Le Bon and boats after that.
Man, there's the living seas is just, it's misery.
It is. Yeah. The seas will catch us all at some point, and the living seas will bum us all out at some point.
I really wish that they had, like, that the 30-minute Omnimover was something much more traumatizing then. I wish they had gone a little bit harder. I don't know what it would be with a limited budget, but I wish that part.
You hear the moans of everyone who's drowned since the Earth began,
and they just like list, they list them. Poseidon yells their name out.
Samuel Fredrickson, 1774.
Yeah, they should have done that.
I killed him. I killed them all. They crossed me and they crossed the sea.
What if I were to tell you, though, for a certain child, the living seas revealed a kick-ass discovery, which was a robot named Jason.
Jason.
I didn't know about this. There was a robot named Jason here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's happier. That's good stuff.
That's happier. And they were kind of I don't know if they intended to predict this or it was just something in the air in the 90s, but I feel like there was a lot of TV specials about deep sea exploration, which is what this robot did. It was a little robot that would tell you about how it could stay underwater exploring the deeps for weeks at a time. But I saw so many specials in school. I mean, James Cameron kickstarted it with the Titanic exploration. But man, there was so much in the late 80s, early 90s about exploring the deep sea that was the real alien. Like that was the next final frontier, not space, but the deep sea.
Jason, did you as a child know Jason? Did you see Jason?
I did. I mean, I don't know when he was put in there, but I definitely remember turning a corner and being like, everyone, come look at this. You gotta see, break out the cameras.
There's gotta be a picture of you with Jason.
Yeah, I'll have to start digging because I think the Jason sign and robot were around for a while, and also I even just like you could climb in the fake like suits. They had the kind of explorer suits.
Jason is an underrepresented original theme park IP. Also, like we don't hear about Jason. I feel like we haven't seen any toys of Jason.
Yeah.
Never heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we rectify this? Can we make a toy of that? Can we 3D print something?
I'm sure we could do it. If there should have been a park star of Jason.
Yeah.
Both Jason Sheridan and the robot. Yeah. So there's also another original theme park character. Is it Commander Fulton?
I don't know about Commander.
Yeah, I don't either. I miss Commander
Fulton is the man who's talking to you on the Living Seas ride. So he's like, "Hi, I'm Commander Fulton," and then like a voice comes in and it's like, "Commander Fulton, they have arrived at Seabase Alpha," and we never hear
the
about
commander of the sea cabs.
Yes, he commands the sea cabs, but I think he's in charge of the operation, and we never hear anything about him. I don't know that there's a picture of him. Maybe I've missed it and it exists somewhere, but he's another character I think we need to hear more from.
There's
at least
some
on merch
illustrations of the interior of the like center of Seabase Alpha. I thought those were interesting because they came out looking what they built was almost exactly what this one piece of concept art is, and the big centerpiece being the tube where the person would be in scuba gear, and then the water would drain and they would come out and go like, "Hey everyone." And then they would.
Would that really? They'd like unfill it, and that's really cool.
Yeah, there's video of that. They would unfill it, and then in the video I watched, the host who had been hosting puts scuba gear on, and they get in and fill it back up. Like so, they like switch. They come in and out, and that was very cool.
That feels like a David Blaine trick or something, where it's like there's a box that fills up with water, over and over again. But I don't remember that as a kid. I was reminded of that in a video.
That room is that is very cool. The base is extremely cool. It's not like you get nothing after the sea cabs because you get to see so many great animals. It is a great reveal when you end up in that room. That is a really grand room, and there's a ton to do and lots to explore in there.
Yeah, and then there's some in some concept art there were pictures of. It was a little bit more like Star Trek-y. And then some of the outfits and some of the concept art were like, I think there's an episode of Star Trek Next Generation where Commander Riker is fencing in a red like exoskeleton. Let me make sure that's right. And some of the concept art made it look like they would make everybody like wear outfits like that. But I gotta find this.
Very Star Trek probably is very Next Generation-y in there.
Okay, I'd like to apologize. Riker was not fencing. He was doing a version of like some space martial arts in this outfit that I've pulled up here.
I really got to watch this show, don't I?
Yeah, no, I think so, yeah.
Now's the time. If I gone this far in quarantine and not given this a go.
There's a lot of nonsense in it. But yeah, so yeah, there's like outfits like this kind of like almost, it's Tron-ish. It looks almost like football pads, but it's like an approximation of like 80s space.
With like Chinese symbols on it?
Yeah. I assume it's an alien language, but...
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, that's probably correct. Yeah.
So anyway, there was some concept art I was looking at, and I was like, oh, man. They were thinking like a little... They probably ended up just going with your usual Disney, like, wool space outfits that every, Tomorrowland person has to wear. But they, like... It looked like they were maybe thinking of something a little more ambitious for a while.
A little Star Trek-y. There's one original IP that I can bring to the table too. Do you guys know about Drew?
No.
No.
According to this is a Twitter user named at Cable Cabel. Apparently, they tested pretty briefly in the Living Seas in 1999 a character named Drew 1, and Drew stands for Dolphin Robotic Unit.
Wow.
They swam a robotic dolphin around in that tank. Who waved to guests, who smiled, who was extremely realistic. It's really well done. And I don't know why they didn't use it more, if it ended up having non-Disney uses.
Did it have like a saddle on it, or was it wearing clothes?
I believe yes, so that it could say Drew 1 on the side.
Yes, okay. I saw the concept art of Drew 1. Yes, okay. Because I was like, there's a dolphin wearing a saddle in this tank. Like, is somebody going to ride that dolphin around? But I didn't know it was a robot. It looked, obviously, it was a drawing. So
nobody wrote it, I guess, but it existed, and that was made by a company called Edge Innovations that went on to build the Na'vi in the tank in Avatar: Flight of Passage. One of the most striking, physical beings anywhere in the parks. Also made Imhotep, my good buddy in Revenge of the Mummy, who I declared cute, I think in a miniature pony kind of way. So I'm all about this company. They do great stuff.
Wow, man, a robot dolphin, that would have been great too. I would never have forgotten that if I was a kid. I feel like if I was like, there's a dolphin with a saddle with his name on it.
There's footage if you Google it. There's a whole YouTube video I think posted by one of the people who produced the robot, and it looks good. I feel like it could have been a mainstay if they had kept it. I don't know why they didn't.
But we know with like Jaws, obviously robot, water, tough to do. There had to I think it's at this point, is there even a prominent? I mean, they have the Jaws. It's been working still in Japan, and it was working in Orlando. But like, I feel like they try to stay away from that still to this day.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would mix super well.
Yeah.
Too bad. Poor Drew. Say, gang, what do you say we take a quick break in the sponsors lounge for a moment so we can talk about Hellofresh. With Hellofresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store, and it makes home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips, so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or less. I don't have more time than that, do you? HelloFresh makes it possible. Eating healthier has never been easier, with low-cal, carb-smart, vegetarian, and pescatarian options every week. Just click a different box every time. They make it so easy. And no matter what you choose, every single recipe is packed with fresh produce sourced directly from farmers. When you open up these boxes, all the ingredients look so beautiful, it smells so beautiful, it tastes beautiful too. My wife and I love the silky Sicilian mushroom penne pasta. We would eat a barrel of it. It is so delicious, and it's also really easy to make. Love HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/themepark10 and use code themepark10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/themepark10. Use code themepark10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. What else in the exhibit that we want to talk about? I mean, it's like there's not so many like this landmark show or thing besides Jason, obviously.
Right, Jason is the #1 thing you would have wanted to go see.
Yeah, I mean, we can pivot from robot dolphin to like the real animals. I mean, I don't have the full list of all the things you can see. There at times have been dolphins. Here is a haunting picture of a scuba diver and a dolphin from the pictorial souvenir of Walt Disney World. This was the Living Seas pages, you can see. I think I would have gotten this book clearly after 1986 when the pavilion opened, but I think my family was down there in 88 maybe and got this. But I got a bunch of stuff I was reading about the manatees. I mean, when we went down, the gentle giants, the seafaring mammals. When we went down,
you loved them. I think you describe them so glowingly.
I think I spent so much time staring at the manatees when we were there in Florida when we did the live show.
Did you think maybe if they could put a little saddle on one of them, you could ride them around?
I mean, I would love it. They're very strong. They're very large. Yeah. They can grow upwards of 1,200 pounds. They're not aggressive. I saw something online just today. A manatee's body is so soft that if the animal crashes into a swimmer, it's like being bumped by a giant pillow.
What?
Oh. Yes.
This is your dream animal.
It's great. And then
a pillow animal?
A pillow animal.
Oh, wow.
They cannot bite you because of the way their snouts are shaped. They're not aggressive. And, of course, the kings, the current manatees, still there. Last I saw a post in 2020. I think the ones we saw in 2019, Lil Joe and Lou. Lil Joe has been released into the wild and then rescued multiple times.
Oh no. Wow, Lil Joe.
Lil Joe here, I think this is the South Florida Sun Sentinel, I believe is the name of the paper. Lil Joe first became a public figure in 1989 when rescued from the Halifax River near Daytona Beach. Let's see, what else about him? Kept in captivity, Lil Joe would be bottle-fed by President George H.W. Bush at SeaWorld in Orlando and sent to WOW audiences in San Diego, Cincinnati, and Tampa.
Bush fed him a bottle.
Fed by George.
Bottle fed him.
like George W. Bush.
Yeah. How many creatures has George Bush bottle fed?
Jeb,
can we
George,
get
and Lil Joe?
Maybe
and
Billy.
Of course, Lil Joe, my favorite son.
Maybe Billy Bush if he came over, like when he was little.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yes.
Love to feed Billy.
What else about Lil Joe? There's lots of facts. Manatee caretakers gradually gain confidence that a really big animal like Lil Joe, he peaked at 1,900 pounds and 10.5 feet long, could survive on his own. He was released in the St. Johns River in 2011 and recaptured after being found stunned by cold.
Oh, Little Joe. This makes me so sad.
Yeah, geez, this poor pillow.
Yeah, so pillow.
They did a short rehab, released him again, lost track of him, and worried he died. But then in 2012, they found him again. And this is sad, but kind of funny. Lil Joe nearly froze to death and ate a boat cushion during a flirt with freedom a couple of years ago.
A boat cushion?
A boat cushion, yes.
Pillow,
and they said
pillow.
once they got the undigested boat cushion pieces out of him, he was back to eating 100 heads of lettuce a day. And the article concludes with this very moving statement. Quote, "He's so big," said Cooper Lingston, 12, of North Carolina, looking through the glass side of Manatee Pool 12 feet deep, and, quote, "peaceful." So on this show, we respect Lil Joe. All due respect to Lil Joe.
We stan. Would you say we stan him?
We stan Lou and Lil Joe. One of them, their fin is a little chewed up by boats, of course. That's the thing that really gets them is boats and speedboats and waterways.
Yeah. Could I request of the audience? I feel like I haven't called for a fan art yet, but could I get a photo of Jason sleeping on Little Joe with a soaking wet blanket on top of him?
I'll do whatever Lil Joe asks for me. One of the manatees in that TV special, they have to they have to transport him, I think. They have to fill a giant flatbed thing with salt water and lift him with a crane into it so that he can be cared for at Animal Kingdom and then brought back. I think that was one of the manatees.
How old is Little Joe?
I'm not quite sure. There's so much about, and I also lost track of how many times he's been rescued. He's been released and re-rescued.
Interesting.
You know what's happening? He's trying his best. Joe is trying his best, like so many of the great theme park characters.
Yeah, he's maybe he's the best Epcot character right now.
Oh,
maybe.
I think that's right.
He's better than evil Figment than bad Figment.
Right.
Dark Figment.
Dark Figment.
Toilet Figment.
Manatees can live 6 to 60.
Wow.
Little Joe could be up there. He's as old as us, probably.
Yeah.
A manatee in his mid-30s, and I don't know if he's childless or not, but maybe.
A childless manatee in his mid-30s.
The Living Seas, hosted by one childless manatee in his mid-30s.
He's as soft as a pillow. Wow, Little Joe. I love Little Joe.
Wow, I do too now. I'm so glad you learned about Little Joe. Oh, look at this. Listen to our voices all lilting now.
Yeah.
Hearing about a pillow makes me so relaxed.
I think only makes love him more. He's an orphan. They found him. He was orphaned. He was so little, and the first 2 to 3 years, apparently, of the manatee lifespan, that's how they learn how to exist in the world. And he didn't get any of it.
Do manatees
like so many Disney characters?
Yeah.
Wow. Do manatees like hugs from humans?
I was reading online. They're so protected. I don't even think you're supposed to pet them. But apparently, they will nuzzle up to boats. They will surface.
Okay. So I'm guessing then little kisses are out of the question.
It's kind of, there are limited experience, you can scuba, you can pay to scuba or snorkel in the living seas. They still offer those options. I don't know.
Can you kiss the fish when you scuba dive?
Can I kiss? Can I do a chill sesh with Lil Joe?
Can I sing a sea shanty on TikTok with him?
If you slip the scuba guy $100, he'll let you kiss the fish. It's a little bit of a hack there before you do it.
No, I'm not going to let you do that. I am going to look the other way. And if any kissing happens when I'm turned over here, then so be it.
But only little kisses.
I'll hear a big kiss.
Not full on.
Smooch, I'll hear.
Not full on Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd kiss. Not that.
Yeah. Just a little kiss. I do remember them feeding the manatees when we were there. I don't remember if children were able to toss in heads of lettuce. If that was the case, I'm sure I was eyeing my in. I was like, okay, after that kid, there's a break. Maybe I could hop over and toss him a big thing of romaine.
My name is Jason, like the robot used to be here. Can I help?
I brought my own romaine from home.
Everyone's a little too expensive around Disney World.
I got the band. What makes them more special? Okay, I've got object permanence. Really good object permanence.
30 heads of lettuce on me, on my person at all times.
My backpack.
You have like Felix's magic bag full of lettuce.
That's
a reference.
Monday.
I apologize, Felix the cat.
Boy,
Felix
I
the cat.
don't think I knew
Yeah.
Felix had a magic bag.
Yeah, Felix the
Oh.
cat had a magic bag where he could, like, it's like Mary Poppins' bag. He could pull whatever he wanted out of it.
Anything.
And we're
like
not into TikTok? People are like Felix the cat's magic bag?
We should try to get the Felix the Cat challenge going of like people pulling unlimited items out of their bags.
That's good. Yeah,
That's pretty good. I think that would be
Felixing, the new trend among today's youths.
It's
It used
called-
to sea shanties, you're out.
it's called Felixing.
It's got sea shanties on the run. Watch out, Poseidon. Felixing is the new trend.
Wow, Little
Yeah.
Joe.
Geez. Oh my God. Okay. Well, Lil Joe, the best IP in here. I mean, I guess we could talk about the Nemo overlay, which, you know, we don't have to spend a lot of time on. It really is like the same. All right. So what used to be the sea cabs, it was all closed for a long time. That's the big thing that happened. In what Wikipedia blames on September 11th, the hydrollators and the sea cabs were shut down, and you could just walk into the thing. Not sure why those correlate, but I guess they're cutting, budget because nobody's traveling. So it was kind of an underwhelming version of the Living Seas for a long time until they installed Turtle Talk with Crush. This was the first place to have Turtle Talk with Crush, which is at California Adventure and a number of other parks. And that sort of not only infused new life, but it sort of pointed the way that, maybe we got to get more Nemo in here. So now it is a fully Nemo-ified experience, and that mainly manifests in the sea cabs where you see Nemo and friends, and it's roughly the same as what happens in the submarine voyage, correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I had convinced myself that the submarine voyage came first. It did not. Nemo, the seas with Nemo came first. And I think the reason I had convinced myself that was because my first reaction, the first time I did the Nemo Omnimover, was, well, this looks a little cheap. This kind of looks not great. I like the fake dune and the queue, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the Nemo stuff in here. I remember seeing that movie opening weekend and going like, I like a lot of movies. I didn't.
Oh, really?
That was
Wow,
fine.
Nemo's on your list?
Nemo's on my list. I think Finding Dory is the better movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think just the escape movie. Some of those Pixar movies where they just do the sequel as a genre movie, I think they have a little more
like
fun.
Cars, yeah, they maybe got a little better with that.
Well, Cars 2 is insane. Absolutely,
Cars 2
insane.
is insane, yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never seen it, honestly.
It's like, doesn't it open with a car getting tortured by another car?
yeah. It's a spy movie, and it's crazy.
It's like only
so
Mater.
bizarre.
Mater's a spy now.
Wow. Oh, yikes.
Yes.
I like Finding Nemo, and I like that there is some Finding Nemo aesthetics, not only here but in other places. I like the seagulls, the mine. I like that they're at Disneyland. I like that they're outside. This thing, it does kind of the mural they put in sort of takes away from the brutalist original Epcot feel. But I like them on the rocks, and I like the Nemo music, and I like that Nemo music shows up in various attractions. I do think that in general they are doing Nemo dirty in the parks because you got submarines, which I feel like people are mixed on. I'm mixed on it. As we've discussed, I'm mixed on the sea cabs. There's a simulator at Disney Sea that is fine, but by the Disney Sea standards, it is not. It wasn't in my top 10. I don't think it would be in a lot of people's. There's a Crush coaster in Paris, which is I didn't get to do it. It looks cool, but there isn't like an exceptional Nemo attraction. I don't believe.
I think timing wise, Nemo, like, because of when the movie came out, and because of, you know, what needed to be renovated and what was on the chopping block potentially, Nemo then got saddled with these things. Literally, all Nemo was doing is propping up stuff that wasn't that popular, or there was a problem with the system. Like, it's expensive to run the subs if no one's going to go on them, or it's like, all right, we'll throw Nemo on there. Nemo is like a stopgap. It's like a save, like to extend the life of something for another decade, maybe, or another 2 decades. It's timing. I think a lot of it has to just do with timing. Like Turtle Talk with Crush is like the most fully realized cool experience that utilizes that Nemo, movie and those characters. But yeah, like Nemo, I'm trying to think of there's another example of like a movie that is just like its popularity is just being used to not have to spend more money, essentially, like to bulldoze something and bring up a new ride, which will eventually happen, at least to the subs in Disneyland.
Well, a little bit of Frozen somewhat.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Frozen Ever After is quite that, but like...
No, I love Frozen Ever After, though. So
yeah, I do too. Does
and like
everyone?
Guardians...
We'll find out.
we will find out soon. And Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously is a re-theme, but like they did a great job with it. It's just there's nothing I can think of that's such a popular movie. Like Finding Nemo is so popular. At least the first one was.
There's no rides that, like, Nemo is all of these rides that are a version of, like, putting a book under a broken leg of a chair.
Yes. And it's timing, I think.
You know what? I mean, I'm not happy that Nemo took the Hydrolator, but the other thing that we haven't really talked about that I loved as a kid, this sign and the constant splashing water, I thought was the coolest. The mural.
Good call.
The splashing water, the sign, and this kind of looks like shit. I like.
It's a little 2000s-y. It's a little gross.
It's not bad, but it doesn't have the vibe of the first one.
I don't mind the abstract depiction of the characters of the manatees and the fishes and everything. Like those, they blend okay with that mural. But the logo, especially when the Living Seas is just such. That's just that beautiful Epcot font and beautiful unfriendly steel just getting to shine in the sun.
Which they have slowly been putting back in the pavilion, if you see in these pictures.
You know, it's not the same font, if I'm going to be picky. Like, it's more rounded.
Please.
But I like this font. I do like it a lot. This does feel like, a revised, reimagined version of the original vibe.
And we should point out that the little areas inside are called modules.
I like that.
Yes.
Which I'm a big fan of. They have like that one. Last one you showed was like module 1B, which was the manatees.
If we were less lazy, we could be joined by the module keeper. But we're at the end of the episode almost. So.
We'll have to talk modules in depth later, I think.
Keeper someday. Can I talk about something that was missing from the sign that you just showed, Jason, but it was there when the attraction opened, and that is the nod to the sponsor, United Technologies. Okay, so you alluded to this a little bit. United Technologies is now part of Raytheon, which might imply what kind of company they are. But this is what I alluded to a while back, and I sort of pulled this from a Jim Hill article, that when this attraction was proposed, they wanted to do all of this fantastic stuff. They wanted Poseidon, they wanted a curtain of water, they wanted it to be, the base to be entirely underwater, and you travel in pearls. It was going to be a lot more grand, but the bill was being footed by United Technologies, and they put a lot of money into it. This was an extremely expensive, $90 million at the time. They spent a lot of money. They did not spend money, but they were like, well, within that, I don't know, all the other stuff. Do we need all the fantastical, all the frills and everything? Can't we just like show off our suits? Like we have these diving suits, and we have those now, and we kind of want people to be interested in them. So put the suits in there. So that's sort of why it ends up being clinical at times. Actually, Jim Hill describes some of the attraction as dry and academic, and I don't disagree with that. Some of it certainly is. So I'm like, all right, well, what is this weird company that would pay for it but then not want to do any of the cool stuff. Like, you're going to reject Poseidon? You're that limited in your imagination? Like, what is the deal with United Technologies? And the big thing that I found is that, okay, so United Technologies made Otis elevators. That's fine. I got no beef with Otis. They made helicopters such as Blackhawks, and they made engines for military jets. So they really are like a military parts company. In the early 90s, when this attraction had only been open for a little while, United Technologies pleaded guilty to 4 felonies and agreed to pay $6 million in penalties to the U.S. government in connection with a Pentagon influence peddling scandal. What happened was they were trying to get the inside line. They wanted to build this engine for the government, an F404, and they were trying to figure out how to do it cheaper than their competition, General Electric, sponsors of Horizons across the way. So 2 Epcot sponsors are trying to build jet engines. They're competing against each other. They go to a guy named Melvin Paisley, who is the Assistant Secretary of the Navy under Reagan, and he had quit the Pentagon, and now he knows all of this info. He knows how much things cost, and he accepted money from United Technologies to help them underbid so that they could get this military contract. This all got found out. United Technologies had to pay $6 million. Melvin Paisley went to prison for 4 years. There were 58 convictions as part of this scandal. The entire thing was called Operation Ill Wind. This was a massive corruption and fraud and bribery investigation that also among the other companies embroiled in this scandal, General Electric, as I mentioned, sponsors of Horizons, and Sperry Univac, sponsors of the Astuter Computer Review and Smart One. The people who paid for Horizons, Carousel of Progress, Smart One, and the Living Seas were all committing fraud to try to get military contracts. Just all across, like, when you realize that Epcot is this showcase of awful company, of like hellish companies trying to like help bombs drop.
Man, yeah, that is wild. And they don't want Poseidon?
And but mainly, all that, building the weapons and everything, or building the engines to drop bombs, that's one thing. But depriving us of Poseidon, this, like, is it fair to call it edging? Would they give us...
Excuse me?
They're getting something, they're getting close to something good, but then not all the way with it, like Poseidon would be. The other thing, the engine that they wanted to build, so they did end up building engines for the specific plane Hornet fighters, which were heavily used in Operation Desert Storm and the subsequent Iraq War. So thank you, United Technologies. Hornet fighters were the basis of the characters Bravo and Echo from Disney's Planes. Here they are.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Voiced by Val Kilmer and Anthony Edwards in a nod to Top Gun.
And isn't that cute?
There they are. Wow. Cute little planes that drop bombs on Iraq.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what a little trip, huh?
It really speaks to like my brain, where you're like talking about how horrible the companies are, and I was like, but what about Poseidon?
Oh, that's still where I am. Absolutely. Yeah. Of course, I accept that, especially Epcot Center, which I've spent so much of my life thinking about, was full of evil military contract companies. But if you're going to do that, then give us cool stuff too. General Electric did bad stuff, but then they took us to Mesa Verde and they showed us a kid upside down and an animatronic seal. That's right. And they financed Sherman Brothers songs and stuff. So you gotta give us some good with the evil. That's what I demand.
Right. It's an equal equal split. Cosmically.
Yes. All the way, 50-50 good and evil, and then you'll be fine.
That's right.
Do we think that, like, the National Geographic Society, the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, all these other oceanographic groups were also pushing, like, hey, maybe not the fantasy. We have a lot of marine biology to do and rescue stuff.
I saw that it was literally like the company was like, here's $90 million. That's what you get. And they were like, well, we can't make Poseidon on $90 million.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It got cut way back just because of like budget wise, that this is how much they were willing to spend. And then unfortunately, yeah. And look, I always say, if you're not going to do Poseidon right, don't do them at all.
Yeah.
So that's what they were.
Poseidon. Because Poseidon wouldn't have been bothering the researchers, I don't think, unless there was going to be an animatronic like blowing big jets of bubbles and like messing up ecosystems and hurting animals.
Hey, Four Eyes, what are you doing over there?
You're telling lies. The tides happen because of me, not the stupid moon.
Little Joe couldn't cut it in the wild, could ya? Came back home to mommy, huh, Little Joe?
He's taunting Little Joe. That's a real heel turn if I've ever heard one.
Poseidon's a bastard. That's what I'm saying.
Oh no!
He's a power player. He's a jerk.
Yeah, so it's good that he's not there.
Yeah, thank God, and that we're left with Little Joe. I mean, yeah, look, there's been ups and downs. We don't have Poseidon, but we have Little Joe. You made me realize the warmth at the heart of this attraction, and I'm just glad he has a place to stay safe. It was all worth it. United Technologies, the sea cabs, every bit of it. I wouldn't take one bit of it back.
Yeah, so Little Joe, I think they need to put Little Joe out front a little more. I think they need to do some cartoon versions of him, like we did a Patreon episode with Earl the Squirrel, which is a character Universal that sort of was a realistic looking robot, but then they made him a cartoon. Let's have a cartoon of Little Joe. Let's do that. Let's go all the way.
Well, I'd like to see an Avengers of fairly unpopular aquatic animals, like there could be Little Joe. There's the shrimp mascot from Bubba Gump. I know he has a name, but I'm disappointed in myself. I don't know it offhand.
Yeah,
Does anyone know?
Yeah, we should know that.
Somebody just brought him up to me, and I was like, yeah, why don't I know his name?
Seems like the kind of thing we would know.
The dirty shrimp man. Yeah.
Everyone knows he's dirty, yeah.
I might put, there was a cartoon of Free Willy where he talked. Maybe we could put talking Free Willy in the Aquatic Avengers.
Oh, what's the
Aqua Avengers? There we go.
That's good. What's the talking dolphin from Sequest's name?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I ever knew that.
But Drew can be in there. Drew's going in.
Drew can be in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Darwin. Darwin. I like Darwin, though, too.
Wait, Darwin is the... Oh, no, Darwin's not the Bubba Gump. Darwin's
Darwin's the Sequest. Darwin was an intelligent dolphin capable of communication. He was a close friend of Captain Nathan Bridger and Lucas Wallace. Can't pronounce his last name. I apologize to the Sequest fans.
Is this our plus up? We've gotten some requests for plus it up, close.
To bring back Plus It Up?
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, pushing Little Joe. Yeah,
pushing
Little Joe merch. Little Joe, like, enticing people to come in. Little Joe dancing around out front like a Bubba Gump.
Mm-hmm. Sad to say, the fish police will not be joining, as many of them have been stripped of their shields and guns for their maybe coordination for the Capitol riot event.
The capital of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yes, the capital of Atlantis, where all those like the deep sea fish that have never seen the sun try to storm Atlantis.
They open the coral.
They opened the coral. Yeah, they rotated the theater.
Coral gates. No.
Yeah.
They've been stripped of their shields, which have big starfish on the front, and their guns that shoot little bones.
Yes.
My plus up is I would like to return to a more terrifying living seas.
That's good.
You can keep the Nemo and Friends on there, but let's make that let's bring the score back. That's really going to be haunting, and let's let the Nemo friends remind you, if we get a hold of you, we will kill you. That's more dangerous fish here. You don't fuck with us.
Would you like it if, I don't know if trickery is involved in your dark vision or could be, but would you like if kids and families lined up for Turtle Talk with Crush, and then when they entered the theater, it's like a psych moment, and instead you have to watch all of Drum: The Journey of a Lifetime and learn about Simon Le Bon's brush with pale blue death.
I think, okay, wait, I like that. How about it's advertised that it's Turtle Talk, but it's like the same Turtle Talk technology, but it's Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran. So it's a teenager playing him from behind a screen, and then he like asks people questions, and then he ties everything back to the yachting accident to try to warn people. So like a child, 5 years old, like, does anyone have a question for Simon? Yes, you there in the striped shirt. And like, who are you and what? Well, it all goes back to my yachting accident. And then everything is about the yachting accident, and that gives everybody, they understand how dangerous the sea is.
Eventually, a mom is like, oh, hey, so, I love Hungry Like the Wolf, one of my favorite songs growing up. How did you come up with that? Well, I don't remember anymore because my brain is fogged by visions of pale blue death. I don't really speak of my music anymore.
Yeah. I think that's good, Jason.
Respect is earned in many ways. Sometimes it's earned by the heartwarming story like Lil Joe. Sometimes it's earned by learning about respect for the sea by seeing the mighty power of it in your yachting accident,
Yeah, now do that like Simon Le Bon would have done it. He said it.
Respect is earned in a myriad of ways. Sometimes by just seeing this beautiful big pillow animal and his many trials and tribulations, and other times by getting my ass handed to me in a yachting accident.
Can we drop Philip Glass score in there?
Yeah, put some Philip.
Like, throw that in.
A ton of Philip Glass.
In that case, I think that's a beautiful note to go out on. Unless there's any objections, I think you survived. Pale Blue Podcast The Ride just narrowly. A trip under the sea. Boy, oh boy, we met new friends, met new enemies, and that was something. For more journeys of a lifetime with us, be sure to follow us on all the social medias. Send us your gripes. We're still collecting gripes, which you can send us if you look up the tweet where we posted it. Gripes aren't really in a clear place. You'll figure it out. Yeah, but there is one clear place.
Put it in the description for this episode. It was in the last description.
Good. Thanks,
too.
Jason. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those of you who just emailed your gripes, tis, gotta listen.
Rule number 1, you go to the spreadsheet, and rule number 2, you have to say, yeah, I got a gripe, all right. A lot of people did. We'll read gripes that don't, but we'll give them a little tisk as we do. A more clear web address is patreon.com/Podcast The Ride, home to Podcast The Ride, the second gate, where you get 3 bonus episodes every month. Go there right now to learn about Six Flags Roller Coaster Cuts, the failed hair salon for children started by Six Flags, which very quickly went underwater.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
Oh, boy. Tied it all up. Well,
I just remember, the sea is not your friend.
Beware of the sea. Don't go out there. Don't end this episode and start thinking you're friends with the sea. No. Beware at all costs. Poseidon's hand will strike you.
Be very careful of the sea. It is memorable and varied, but it does not use butters, light sauces, and spices to enhance its delicately flavored seafood entrees, which is how the pictorial souvenir of Walt Disney World describes the offerings of the Coral Reef restaurant to presumably children buying this book.
Jesus Christ. Right. Okay. Well, thanks, book. That was nice.
Thanks for ending the show on a weird notebook. Man,
okay.
The book now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gairdner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.